All right, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting to hear my thoughts on Project Elite. Yes, I have played it. The game is currently sitting at mostly negative reviews after, at the current time of recording, it's 3 days after launch, with an all-time peak of 185 players, with at the time of recording about 68 players playing the game. The game, by all intents and purposes, is dead as fuck by every metric, and this video is going to tell you exactly why. My name is BigfryTV. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more content just like this. And if you don't know Project Elite, it is a hardcore first-person tactical extraction shooter that I covered earlier this year when the first announcement trailers came out, in which I made a lot of connections and did some digging and figured out some things. Figured out connections from their developer, HomeGuard Games, with Sergey Titov, known internet scammer. I'm trying to think of all the games that he has released and then subsequently left and abandoned and pulled off and just disappeared into the night with people's money. There's so many at this point. Oh wait, there's a review here that details every single one of them. The War Z, Infestation Survivor Stories, Infestation the New Z, Romero's Aftermath. How could I forget Romero's Aftermath? Shattered Skies, Burst Fire, Last Man Standing, Wild West Online, Outbreak New Dawn, and I actually think there's more than that, but those are all the ones that I think I've covered on this channel. I've been following this guy for a long time, and earlier this year I made connections to the fact that HomeGuard Games is being funded by the Games Fund, a VC company that is founded by Sergey Titov. HomeGuard Games actually had Sergey's wife hired at the beginning of the studio's inception, and they hired a bunch of their former staff from Arctos Entertainment and other companies. When I made the video earlier this year, it was then subsequently taken down via false DMCA claim, much like Sergey has done in the past when I covered Shattered Skies. We went through many a discussion and emails in which I kept you guys into the loop with everything, to which I then discovered that the emails were coming from Sergey's old company, even though they were denying the fact that Sergey was even involved in the first place. It was a complete clusterfuck of a situation, but now the game is on Steam, and we can see it all in its glorious self, and we can understand that it's exactly what I said it was going to be, a half-cooked, half-baked project that's going to take years to get it to the point where it could even compete with games that are coming out now, who have then, on top of that, subsequently priced themselves out of the same market that they're trying to grasp. Let's talk about the game itself. It is not the worst game in the world. If you were to jump into Project Elite right now, you could see that I have covered games on this channel that are a lot worse. Like, I'm talking like bottom of the barrel. I just booted up Unity for the first time and put a fucking game on Steam for $100 type games. Project Elite is not that. It is not a great game, but it is not the worst game that I've covered on this channel. If you were to pick it up, I think most gamers could find some positive qualities here. Hell, even after everything that happened to me earlier this year and the back and forth that we had with the developers, I can even find some positives. And you know, another game that I think you could pick up and find some positives with is today's sponsor. If you're a fan of epic vehicle combat, you need to check out War Thunder, the most comprehensive combat game out there, and it's totally free on PC and consoles. Take control of over 2,500 meticulously detailed tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations. From the biplanes and the armored cars of the 1920s to the cutting-edge fighter jets and main battle tanks of today, War Thunder has it all. Get ready to dive into intense, realistic combat. The graphics are stunning, the sound effects are spot on, and every vehicle is modeled down to the last detail. Engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and crew all react to damage just like in real life. Plus, the X-ray view shows you exactly how your shots take down your enemies. War Thunder caters to every type of player with 3 distinct game modes. You have arcade mode for fast-paced action, realistic mode for that perfect balance of intensity and authenticity, and then you have simulator mode for that ultimate challenge. So no matter your style, there is something for you. The game also features some pretty in-depth customization options where you can personalize your vehicle with a wide range of camouflages, historical markings, and even community-created decorations. It really lets you make each vehicle your own and stand out on the battlefield. Join a global community of over 70 million players in thrilling PvP battles. War Thunder is packed with high-quality content that's perfect for military history enthusiasts. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox now by using my link in the pinned comment or the video description. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months will also get a massive bonus pack including premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account status. But this offer is only for a limited time. Dive into the action and experience the ultimate vehicle combat game today with War Thunder. Some of the features in this game are pretty streamlined. The character customization, the inventory system itself, the fact that when you get into the world, there are maps with detailed areas that show different bosses and different objectives that you can clearly see where the extraction and the timers for those extractions are. It is a streamlined experience, much better than a lot of other extraction shooters that I have played. Project Leet is going to be a game because of the price tag. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but because of that price tag, they have put themselves in the same market as games like Escape from Tarkov, Gray Zone Warfare, and Arena Breakout Infinite. When you're comparing Project Leet in every aspect to all of those games, it does nothing better, maybe outside of beating Gray Zone Warfare on performance, but it's because Gray Zone Warfare actually looks like an Unreal Engine 5 game, whereas Project Leet looks like it came out about 6 years ago. I'm not mad at the visuals, don't take that as a shot, it does look a little bit dated, but that does lend itself to actually having much better and more consistent performance than a game like Gray Zone Warfare. The art style and the world building itself reminds me a lot of if you were to take like an Escape from Tarkov, mix it with Arena Breakout, and then mix it with, again, another one of Sergey's games that he made in the past, Shattered Skies. It's got that like alien kind of broken down, almost like a Shatterline-esque vibe kind of sprinkled throughout this world. So there's some supernatural elements to the game as well. And again, the UI and the UX I think is very good for an indie game like this. I've played a lot of games where navigating menus and inventory systems is fucking terrible. If you were to take this game and compare it to the likes of a Dead Matter, which I think it took a lot of bullying and a lot of begging, but Dead Matter has lowered their price, I think, to around $20 on Steam. But when it came out, it was like $49. So comparing this game just on all aspects to a game like Dead Matter, I mean, Project Leet blows it out of the water. That being said, the bar for Dead Matter is in the fucking ground. You could walk over it and still be higher than a Dead Matter. So I don't look at that as like a win. It's just not the worst thing in the world. What I don't like about Project Leet is the fact that they are touting themselves as a hardcore first-person extraction shooter. In terms of the extraction shooters that play in this like hardcore arena, you know, again, Arena Breakout, Gray Zone, and Tarkov are much more hardcore in every sense of the word. From, you know, immersive HUD elements to time to kill to the medical systems. Like, there's nothing that Project Leet does that puts it in the hardcore realm. There's a HUD that shows your ammo counter on screen. You put healing onto your hotbar and you just tap it and there's a bar that fills up and you heal. Like, there's no animations, there's no in-depth medical system, there's no different injuries. Like, you just heal. There's nothing that this game does that's hardcore. And here's the thing, I don't need the game to be a hardcore shooter, but when you tout yourself as a hardcore shooter and you have all of these very casualized mechanics, it's a little strange. What I don't like about the casualized experience that you get from Project Leet is the actual gunplay itself. Recoil patterns and actual like weapon feel is it's just not it. You're shooting at guys, your weapons feel just weak as shit. The recoil is almost non-existent. Guns are laser beams, but then it's combined with a pretty long time to kill. And there were some combats where it felt like I was playing Call of Duty. Again, not a bad thing, but not what you're selling to the people when you call yourself a hardcore tactical shooter, and you're just not that. When you discuss Project Leet, the biggest thing that you have to talk about is their AI. Because the player base is so low and almost non-existent, you are going to be coming up against a lot of AI, and that is essentially what you're going to be doing in this game if it doesn't pop off and if it doesn't grow from here, which I don't think it will. It obviously could, but their AI in the game is I mean, it's something. Just watching this interaction here, these guys are just running down the road. They run, they snap to you, they run a little bit, they snap to you. It's your basic indie AI that a lot of games do. But what I do find weird about Project Leet is the way that these AI get triggered and how they come into these points of interest. So in this clip here, I'm in this building, and what you'll notice is AI just continually run towards me into the building and are always engaged in combat. I walked into the building, I killed a couple AI, and it just feels like they nonstop rush the building, and it almost feels like they're spawning from nowhere and then just trying to engage with me until I get out of the area. This aspect of the game just makes it feel really fucking cheap. And the thing is the way that these maps are designed and laid out, a lot of these points of interest have these AI engagements within them, which means you are going to be running into this everywhere you fucking go. And honestly, it's like that tedious feeling cheap, where it feels like even if you take out an entire compound of guys, they're just going to be coming back. And to me, that is a sign of like a more casualized shooter, and I'm just not a fan of it. On top of the fact that Project Lead is $30 fucking on Steam, which is, I think, the biggest tragedy for a game like this. I think if Project Lead actually came out the gate at a $15, maybe even a $10 price tag, they could gather a pretty large audience of people who would just be like, it's $10, let me try it. And then I think they would actually find some solid qualities there. But they priced themselves out of their own fucking market. Arena Breakout Infinite is right around the corner, and it's coming out for free. And it's coming out with better content, and it's coming out with more content, and it's coming out with a style and an aesthetic that a lot of people are looking for, that Tarkov alternative that gives that medical system, that in-depth, but also has streamlined, casualized features that blend well. And I think Project Lead, missed the mark on that combination and that blend, and then $30 on top of it. They price themselves out of their own market. I think a lot of people are just waiting for Arena Breakout Infinite at this point, and they're not even looking over the fence at Project Lead. I mean, looking at their player numbers, I mean, we could call this Project Bleak, guys. It is not looking good. And again, this is my opinion. This entire video is my opinion, Sergey Titov. Don't fucking sue me. I think this game dies, and keep in mind, I think it's already dead, but I think the game actually shuts down within a year. And that's not because that's what Sergey Titov always fucking does. I'm trying to take that out of the equation. I actually think a studio can't sustain itself on releasing a game in this state with this amount of low player base. I don't think they survive. And the thing is I'm just sitting here thinking dude, I actually don't give a fuck if this game shuts down or not. Not a lot of people, from what I can see, purchased the game. They didn't back it during the beta. They might make out with $100,000 if there were some packages on their store that were paid. Based on the Steam numbers, they didn't do very well at all. If you were to take what VG Insights is saying, I think they said it's around 2,400 people own the game. If you were to take that at $30, 72 grand, Steam's gonna probably take their 30%. They didn't do very well at all. I think this was a failure by all metric, because the game is multiplayer only. You have to have a player base of people that are playing it. Otherwise, you're just jumping in and playing against really shitty AI, which might be fun for some people, but it's not for me. But see, here's the thing. This is where the human side of me comes in a little bit, because, I mean, even taking Sergey Titov and that entire situation out of the equation completely, these guys are in early access, right? They say that they're going to be in there for 12 to 24 months. We will extend early access if needed to deliver the best 1.0 version of the game possible. If you take this at face value, they have a lot of things that they're planning to add to the game, including skill systems, expanded social hub functions, personal hideouts, clans, faction gameplay, boss hunts, seasons, new map, just a bunch of shit, right? The current state of early access has one map, a medium-sized map suitable for 5 to 20 players, hundreds of character cosmetics and customization items, several dozen weapons that you can customize as well, with a bunch of attachments. They say they have hundreds of attachments, dozens of paint patterns, just a bunch, again, a bunch of shit. This game, if it wasn't for what happened earlier this year, I still think would be a mediocre experience that I think has potential. Seeing how the developers responded to my original videos about it, the threats of potential lawsuits and false DMCA claims and all that other bullshit, it's tough for me not to look at this and weigh all of that into the equation. There's something up here. Now, if they actually get their shit together and continually develop this game for the people who paid for it, I'll give them props. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I think they're going to shut down and or just pull the game and or abandon it? Yeah. Any one of those things is most likely going to happen. Whether they shut it down because of the low player numbers, whether they abandon it altogether, just like Sergey Titov's done in the past, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. What I do know is the future of this game is not looking very bright as of where we're sitting right now. And like, here's the thing. Usually I feel kind of bad when games like this come out. You can see that maybe there's some potential there, but like, the studio kind of squandered any goodwill they had with me, so I just don't care. But until that time comes where the game is in a better state and these developers are showing that they're willing to actually put the effort in to take this game to the finish line, I would suggest just holding back, watching from the sidelines, and seeing what happens. But here's where the narrative is always going to shift. If you don't support them now, they won't get to the finish line. If you don't buy the game, they can't continue development because the player numbers are low. It's not my fucking problem. This is where we're at. Project Bleak is now available on Steam, and from the start of this video, it had about 90 players playing, and at the end of recording this commentary, it's down to 36 on the day. We are looking at damn near single-digit numbers, ladies and gentlemen, and it has been 3 days since launch. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for clicking on it and watching through to the end. And a big shout out to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Keep in mind, if you guys use my link down below, you get access to 7 days of premium, as well as the Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and a bunch more. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.